Welcome to the DorkLair Collecting Podcast. Today we are going to talk some Legions updates. We're going to chat about corporate impact on collecting and decision making as a collector. We're going to, all three of us, take a look at the 89 Mezco Batman. And then if we have time, we're going to talk some toy news, including those new Hot Toys announcements. But welcome to the show, and welcome my friends. With me, as always, are my co-hosts Chris and Larry. What's going on, guys?
I've decided that I'm going to come up with keywords for each episode. My keywords tonight are going to be, I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. You're going to hear that come out of my mouth about 15 times tonight. On the thing, and some of those disappointments come from expectations that are maybe elevated a little too much, which we all suffer from, and we can all talk about that. But I had some cool pickups this week. Picked up the Masterpiece movie Bumblebee Nemesis Prime. I had the Optimus Prime. This is a really great piece. So just a straight repaint, but I really love what the Masterpiece line does. And those of you who don't know, Chris and Bill knows, I'm pretty much all in on those. A little while back, I started doing the Fury model kits, and I have several boxes of them that have not been put together, and I want to get them put together before we move in the summer. So got Starscream put together, got the Mezco Batman, which we'll talk about later, and had a handful of pickups, had this wave of G.I. Joes arrive. Falcon, if you guys are thinking about it, wondering about it, the face is just as awful as advertised. It's terrible. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if it's the sculpt or it's the paint or both, because I've seen a lot of figures where they don't look great, but then someone strips it down and repaints it and it looks good. The paint is a little wonky. CoverGirl, which is really came out nice. I was really happy with that. The regular version of Outback is opposed to Tiger Force, so this is younger, not quite yet on Social Security Outback. But the one that shocked me the most was the one I didn't really care about. I just kind of ordered it on a whim, was the Slaughter's Marauders version of Barbecue. Mm-hmm. And this one really surprised me. I think this might be one of my favorite classified figures I bought so far. Something about the way that those colors go together. I never had any of the Slaughter's Marauders as a kid or the 25th anniversary line. So that's a completely new thing for me. And it's funny, I usually hate repaints, but I'm finding some of my favorite things about this classified line are Tiger Force, Python Patrol, and now this Slaughter's Marauder. So if any of you guys are thinking about picking these up, I can tell you they're all great. The Crimson Bat is on the way, hasn't come yet. That's another repaint that looks really good. But, if you need the Falcon for your shelf or you like the character, get it. Maybe you can get a new head, get the head redone. But the other figures are fantastic. So it's been good. Good.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't gotten any new G.I. Joe in a little while. I kind of, at the same time as it's like almost everything else, I'm like, let me just stop pre-ordering for a little bit and catch my breath. But yeah, I got the Batman in, and then the All-Stars 5 wave for, I didn't get the whole wave. I just got the, what's the name of the horse? Boreas? Or Boreas, Dubon, and Xenophon, and then the 6-pack of heads. I kind of wish I got more of the heads. I only really want to use 2 or 3 of them anyway, but they're it's a really nice pack. I did like that. Dubon's really cool, and Xenophon looks great too. So glad to have all those guys too. Finally,
nice. Yeah, I got the review up today of the head pack with some like head swaps. I did like some on stock figures and a couple other ones on like just straight up kit bash figures. So, after the show, people should check that one out. That just published an hour or 2 ago. I kind of squeezed that out after work today because Saturday I should have my last, finally, my last Cosmic Legions test shot. Those are still going. It's the final one, the 9th figure that should go up Saturday morning. And I didn't want to have too much stuff too many days in a row. But I also got some Transformers in. I got Blitzwing, the Legacy Blitzwing, and then I also got Kickback, the Insecticon. I haven't opened Kickback yet, but Blitzwing I opened. I transformed. It came in the tank mode, and I transformed it into the robot mode, and that's a great looking figure. And then I got some Exo 6. I did get 7 of 9 in, and Chakotay.
Nice.
Those came in at the same time, but I have not opened those yet. I need to carve out some time to get into those two Voyager figures. And they teased a really interesting figure. They teased Worf from
Oh yeah, I saw that.
First Contact when he's out on the when they're walking the hull of the ship. I forget what they were doing on the hull of the ship, but there's a scene where him and Picard are walking out on the ship and they're in their spacesuits. So they're doing a Worf in spacesuit before they do any other Worf, which is,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of typical Exo 6, but pretty
Yeah,
cool.
hit
Pretty
the
cool
random
figure,
guys.
though. Let's check in with the chat here. Let's see here. Curtis is in the house. What's up, man? This one is totally a doll. Which one? Let's see here. We got Braku Prime in the house. Hedgehog, what's going on, man? We did a. I can't remember if that was already up last time we did the live stream, but Hedgehog and I did one of the Toy Tubers episodes a couple weeks ago. And then this past week I did one with Jeremy Gerard from Mythic Customs. Let's see, we got Josie, Hedgehog, Rob Zamora, Cloud Foxwell, Braku Prime, Boy Called Malice, a lot of the regulars in here. Steve Wegling, what's going on, man? Mecha Rekka, Billy Beige. Check out Billy Beige Customs YouTube channel, along with Hedgehog Action. Those guys are up and coming and awesome YouTubers. Billy Beige, we gotta get you on the Toy Tubers pretty soon. Let's see, we got the Collecting Brothers. Been loving and learning so much from the Toy Tuber series. Word up. Thank you. Thank you so much for the $5
Nice.
super chat. Let's see who else here. Wow, we're bumping. Eric Miller's in the house. You're not that late, man. We're just getting started here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Some new names. Let's see.
Yeah, definitely.
Navaz 51. Worf was disconnecting the reflector array to keep the Borg from contacting. Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit of Legions. We are going to do a giveaway today. As we said last week, we gave away Dubon last week, or last episode 2 weeks ago. And so this week we're going to do a Xylernian Guard. So we got a hot one here. A lot of people are hyped up on this figure and looking to get multiples. So even if you have one, this is a really good one to win because it's an army builder, So we're going to give that away after we do some Legions chat, which is not a lot. There's not really much new lately with Legions. We do have let's see here. We do have the pre-order going on right now for Outpost Zaxius. We've gone over all these figures, but I thought I would just kind of share. So you've got the $37 standard figures. There's 4 of those. And then you have the Sexian Mine Workers 48, and then Scourge is 65. And then the All-In is 235, which is a $26 savings.
Yeah,
I think it was
that's what it is.
261 is the add up total. So it's basically a Legion builder cost is the savings there, or your tax and shipping perhaps. But yeah, so that's up for pre-order through the whole month of April, and then I think May 1st it ends, and maybe May 2nd, somewhere in the first week of May. The retailer orders will open up. The Svexy miner.
Sexy.
The sexy Svexians. Yeah, I agree. The Svexians you don't want to pass on. They're gonna be a big hit, especially they're gonna be dropping soon, within 2 months, I think, maybe when the first wave hits, and people are gonna be going crazy for those things, I think. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me just. Hedgehog actually posted an overview, breakdown article on the Foosh. So check that one out too. That's pretty cool. So
Oh,
Chris,
nice.
what was up?
No, I was gonna say I didn't order any of the bug guys. I don't know the general aesthetic. Just like it's like I don't know if I'd like that. Like it's not like I'm so not the I don't really follow the lore as much. That's why I'm like I don't need to get every guy, but I might get one bug guy just to see if I'd like it in hand before. Because when I was looking at this pre-order in general, I'm like I was thinking of really just the alien guy and then the big lizard guy. I guess for lack of a better word.
Scourge,
I was like, it's like it might be $10 or $15 cheaper pre-ordering it, but I was like, maybe I'll just do a retailer or something and stick with that.
Especially out west, like the shipping.
Yeah, two figures.
It's gonna be about
like
the same.
$19 or something, and one was 17, or it was something like that. I'm like, okay, well, it's easier to make a decision for that.
So, Mythic Customs last night they did their usual post-launch pop-in swap at the studio, and one thing I realized about this figure is it's just going to be an amazing source of parts. Like if you think about these Sphexians, there's a belt, and then there's a big arching armor piece over the top. Otherwise, the chest underneath, the arms, upper arms, forearms, upper legs, lower legs, like it's all pretty much straight up 1.0 Legion stuff. So these will be swappable. All these solid black parts, you'll be able to mix and match. Like you'll be able to take those solid black arms and upper legs and like just pop them right on this guy, which is one of the things they kind of did on the show last night.
Okay, cool.
So this is going to be a really good source of this is a good one to get an extra of. And I'm going to do that just to have these extra black parts. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. Is there anything else that those, like, I mean, usually there's like standard size ports for his like little arms? Do those, I mean, I guess you've played with the actual test shots, but I don't know if they like fit in anywhere else if you just want to have fun with them or anything.
I don't think I tried it. I wasn't messing around with too many swaps because they were my figures. It's going to be smaller than any arm or leg port. It might be maybe the size of a wrist peg. I'm trying to remember about the size of that.
Or even don't some of the cosmic have port holes kind of just around their body?
Yeah. I think those
I
guess
that's what they're in, probably, right?
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yep. Cool. So then another thing. Let me just check the chat here. Oh, I sold him on it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry and you're welcome is my my favorite phrase. Let's see.
He's sorry, but he's not sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to share was a custom maker. So a while back, and I don't have a picture to pull up right now, way back, right after Legions Con, I think it was. So back in November, maybe early December, the Forge collection, we did a giveaway. It was we did two. We did one on the live stream, and it was a female orc with some custom paint with some purple on it. And then we gave away another one that was like a sort of it had like Aether parts. That one was on Instagram. But this is Reynolds Cruz, and he is starting to design cosmic stuff. And this picture's a little blurry, but he's starting to do cosmic parts. So this would be a torso, pauldrons, and head sculpt. And check out the name of this one. It's called the DorkLair.
Nice.
The DorkLair tribute figure.
Very cool.
So it's not up yet. It's coming soon. So keep an eye out for that.
So is the accessory your hopeful optimism or my cynicism?
What's that?
I said, is the accessory that it's going to come with it your hopeful optimism or my endless cynicism?
I don't know. Okay, whoops. I went back there. Hold on. So then the other one, our Lair Brothers, this one, this sort of Greedo looking one right
Oh
here
wow, that's cool.
is for the Legion's Lair
Oh, that's cool.
show. So that's pretty sweet. He's doing these like not homages, but like naming them in tribute. So that one's called Lee Gihan Slayer. Lee Gihan Slayer.
Very, very cool.
That's
Clever
really
names.
nice.
But yeah, so big shout out to the Forge collection, Reynolds Cruise. The dude's awesome. Really good stuff. And was there another thing? I think that was it for Legions. Let's see. Anybody in the chat have any other Legions things we should be talking about here? There just hasn't been a lot because, the whole last month was the Cosmic announcements and all that stuff. And now it's finally up for pre-order. So we're living in that bit for a while. I guess shipping updates, right? Like the, what are they called? The tactics. Yeah, the War of the Aetherblade tactics game figures. So you got the new Gorgo Aetherblade and the new Attila, and then you've got the 4 like deluxe packs: the male, female orc, the male, female elf. Like all of those are shipping very soon. I think they're at the studio now. Studio is finishing up All Stars 5 shipments. Actually, yesterday they said they're done. And I think they're waiting for some final address updates through the like backer kit or whatever, and then they're going to start shipping those out. So I could see those shipping out starting tomorrow even, because they're pretty close to being ready to go. So the game figures. Oh my God. Where are the game figures? Yeah.
The last update I think they sent the other day was about them working around their shipping prices and stuff and trying to either lower them or getting them whatever as low as they can, because they were like really high at first and then it went down to like for my thing it was like 60 and it went down to like 52 or something, and I'm like, well, that's still pretty high, but that was still a couple weeks ago that I looked at it.
Yeah, but they're at the studio. They're just ironing out a few last bits of details before shipping those out. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. They're autographing them. Yeah. Did you get autograph one? Or?
I think I got at least one of them. Yeah, autograph.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't go heavy. Like I only got 1 2-pack of the Gorgo Attila 2-packs. Got 1 of those, and then I got 1 of the male orc and 1 of the female elf. That's it. I didn't even get the male elf or the female orc, and I'm like, I'm kind of like, I'm obviously regretting it now. Now that
I got
shipping.
like 2 or 3. I think I got 3 of the Gorgo and Attila, right? Yeah,
Attila,
2-packs and maybe 4 of the orcs. Like the male orcs, and I don't think I got a female, but either way, I was just like, at the time, I'm like, oh, I want a lot of orcs, and I don't know if I've gotten like since like, was it Vorthog? I don't think I've gotten another orc since then, but I guess they haven't put out another one either. So
they reissued the Orc Legion Builder and the reinforcements like
I skipped on that at the time. Because I probably knew because I ordered all these ones. I was like,
right, yeah. And these have the bare torso, right? Like in that orc had the chest. It's cool to get the bare torso orcs.
Yeah. That's kind of my preferred look, I guess, in general. So,
yeah.
I guess you can always speculate on reinforcements because I don't remember if we talked about it, but they did say something in one of their posts. They're like reinforcements, if you will.
Yes.
I'm only quoting one hand.
That's right. Yeah. That I don't think maybe we didn't. I don't think so. But yeah, so that's something to keep an eye out. Maybe we get another reinforcements.
Yeah, I'm sure in May.
I could see them combining reinforcements with deluxe Legion builders into some kind of new wave, because I know that they've said that the reissues tend to sell less. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the straight figure, like the named character reissues as opposed to like the Legion builders. Because it seems like the Legion builders are like, I still can't believe how like crazy, how crazy they sell during the reinforcements, and then like how quickly like the prices shot right back up from
That's true.
where they were. It was like, oh, they're $25, and then they're just, you know, once they kind of sold out, it was like, all right, now everything's $75, $80. Yeah.
All right. So I think that'll do it for Legions. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about, so let's do it.
I like this comment from Curtis. Sorry.
I'm laughing my ass off at everything Curtis is typing over here. I'm barely listening to you guys. I'm just watching his play-by-play.
I must have accidentally ordered some disappointment from Tactics Way because that's all it's been delivered so far. Yeah, was that 2020? Was that around the same time as 89 Batman? I feel like it might have been, or was that 2021? I can't remember.
Let me see.
I feel like it was 2020 that they did the.
Well, I feel like
think
the
it was.
bonus
There's
for anything,
two kind of phases, right?
Yeah, the very
bonus
first one I think was
pack-in-
2020.
The bonus pack-in for anything ordered in 2020 was disappointment. You know, it's a theme. It's a thing. Hey, while we're in between things, I just saw this go up. Hasbro announced that basically they didn't say it like this, but based on fan outrage and uproar, they're going to go back to windows in their packaging for their 6-inch figures. They're going to start gradually doing it throughout this year into 2024, eventually getting it back into Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe Classified and everything else. Apparently, it's more than just collectors wanting to be able to collect on card. There are a lot of issues of people returning things. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's it. I just saw that. It makes me happy.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of that. I was watching, what the heck was it? I think it was Nerdzoic.
Well, Nerdy had said that there was some news coming, but I didn't want to speculate until we had something concrete.
Yeah, he had hinted at this, but he had also had a package in hand. He got a shipment, and they didn't have tape on it. It was a whole wave of figures without any tape on the boxes. It's wild.
There was a reviewer. I don't know if you guys ever watched Tidarium Hanger. He does reviews and news and stuff like that, mainly for Transformer stuff is why I watch him. But he was doing a review of the Dungeons and Dragons line, and he had a brand new whatever the archer's name is in the green from the cartoon, and it came from Mattel, or from Hasbro rather. It was like a Hasbro Pulse shipment, and he opened that one. It was a completely wrong figure, and that came from Pulse. So, yeah.
It's funny because they make claims about environment, and then they're dumping pallets of Magic the Gathering into a landfill. It's like, okay.
Oh, they overproduced cards or something like Funko, or
we don't know. I know the Funko one, they went on record as saying they're going to be dumping pops, but there was basically just a random dump near the Magic the Gathering factory in Texas that had a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards, and nobody knows exactly why they dumped it, if it was like for tax write-off reasons or what, but and we're gonna get into these corporate decisions in a minute.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, if a corporation is run by more than one person, I don't trust or believe anything they say.
All right. Okay, so let me start collecting. Check my spelling. Okay, so let me pull this down. All right, so reminder, this is the Xylernian Guard, and we're giving this away. Rules are in the description below. We have switched back to only U.S. shipping because I've had to now make rules, and it gets complicated, and I'm not like dedicated enough time-wise to like figure out any sort of international sweepstakes rules and all the different places that you could ship to. Obviously, if you can get somebody to ship it into the U.S. to like their address and then they can forward it to you, that's probably fine. But we have the Xylernian Guard, and the hashtag is Forest Knight. So enter Forest Knight in the chat for a chance to win a Mythic Legions Xylernian Guard. And as we start collecting, as we start collecting these. Cloud Foxwell. Hashtag Foxy Cloud.
So yeah, I think someone mentioned in the chat, and I just checked my own thing. The War of the Ether Blade, the first one they offered was January 2021. I know I made my order in February, so a little over 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
From
so
whatever I can't remember if it was the the deluxe packs or if it was the 2-pack that was the first thing they put up.
It was the deluxe packs first, I believe.
Okay.
In the Forge, is that what was it called? The Forge?
Yeah, that's part of the. I was trying to look up the nomenclature for what that.
And then the Kickstarter was the 2-pack.
Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah. Yeah. If anyone's missed those, Big Bad Toys R Us put them up, and I'm sure people will cancel like always whenever they actually are asked to pay for them. But
yeah,
so hold tight.
Sure. Yeah. And be on the lookout. A lot of people bought extras. I think they said they had offered them to other retailers. I'm not sure how many other retailers ended up getting them because that's a while back. But
yeah,
could
and I
be
think, and I've only seen posts on the Cabal about it, but I think they said that they're not going to reproduce them again or something to that nature. Like this was for the game and the game company, not like part of their normal repertoire, I guess.
Yeah, similar to like the Legion's Con exclusives.
Yeah.
And releases like that. So okay, while we're collecting entries, let's start talking a little bit about the main topic. And so the title of the episode was why did I cancel my Mondo Battle Cat, which I did. And I had the image of all those Magic the Gathering cards. So if you're wondering what the thumbnail was, it was the shot that somebody took at that landfill of all the Magic the Gathering pallets of cases of Magic in the dump. And obviously we know that we don't see pictures of it, but we know that Funko is doing the same thing with a bunch of pops. Something like $30 million worth of pops are going into the dump. Meanwhile, so like the premise is, at least for Funko, the premise is like it would be more profitable, if you can say that. I guess it would be less money lost is sort of the premise here, to just destroy the product and write it off as a tax credit than to actually try to clearance them out and sell them and distribute them. Right. But they have to get rid of them because they're taking up massive amounts of warehouse space. And so, you have that side of it. You have this very like destructive, wasteful side of the big corporate like endeavor of trying to make as much money as you can for your shareholders, right? And then you also have, meanwhile, layoffs. Hasbro, we saw very recently, had a bunch of layoffs. And Funko also had a bunch of layoffs. It's like, and one of the issues I think that has come up is they had massive growth through the pandemic, right? Like these companies were producing tons and tons of stuff. Demand was through the roof. People were stuck home. People had stimulus checks. They're buying collectibles like crazy. And so these companies just kept upping and upping, just trying to meet the demand. They didn't have enough to meet the demand, and they just kept producing more and more and more, to the point where when the economy started to slow, they didn't react fast enough, and they had all this crazy overstock, and they lost a bunch of money. And like last year, fourth quarter, I think Funko lost something like $40 million, or I forget what it was. They lost they lost a bunch of money. And then last week we found out about their layoffs. Now, the big announcement was, this is just a thought, but maybe don't make pops for every single, it's not even just shows. We're talking about everything from serial characters,
shows,
to
movies, bands, next door neighbors.
Yeah. And so the announcement came. Well, let me backtrack, because before we get into the Funko and Mondo layoffs, basically last summer, Funko purchased Mondo around the time of San Diego Comic-Con last year, which was around the time that they put out the Skeletor Revelation figure pre-order, the Deluxe He-Man pre-order, the She-Ra pre-order. Like, I think right around then, that summer, there was a bunch of pre-orders in a row. And that was right around the same time they bought, where Funko bought Mondo. The owners of Mondo, Alamo Drafthouse, had a really tough go of it throughout the pandemic because they are an in-person theater chain, and they had to make, they were going to go bankrupt, so they had to sell Mondo. And so, when that happened, people were kind of concerned, but the messaging was pretty good. It was like, we're buying Mondo. We're not changing Mondo. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to integrate them with our back end, and help them grow as a company and support Mondo. And they made statements about how the team is not going to change and it's going to be the same old Mondo. And for people who are only familiar with Mondo with the figures, Mondo is an art company. They are a huge, I don't want to call them a sponsor, but a huge sort of contractor of artists. And they make basically handmade craft silkscreen posters, right? And they're really high quality. They're take a ton of work, a ton of labor to make. They're printed one at a time. And that's one of the reasons why, it's impossible to make runs of 10,000 of these posters. It's just, you can't do it. And that's what Mondo was. Their core team was there from the beginning. They were huge, patrons, I guess, of artists. Yeah. And the promise was that they weren't going to change Mondo, right? And so let's see here. So Battle Cat went up in October. So we were well within the range of, Funko owning Mondo for many months. It seemed to be Mondo was the same. They had a couple collaborations where they dropped a Mondo poster for a current movie at the same time as some Funko Pops, but it wasn't it was Mondo was still a separate company. And then last week we found out that Funko was laying off 10% of its workers, which, Mondo only had 40 people there. Mondo was 40 people, maybe a little less than 40 people. It was 50% of Mondo that they laid off, according to multiple sources. There's down to 20 people at Mondo now. IndieWire and Gizmodo both reported that they went from about 40 down to 20. So, Funko laid off 10% across the whole company, but Funko laid off 50% of their employees. They also sold Trapjaw last month. Yep. And so, okay, so at the announcement of the layoffs, it turned out that the core founders, two of the founders of the company and the lead art production manager, or the what is his title? I forget what his title is, but basically the lead art director. All three of these main guys who really were running the poster business, at its core, that's Mondo, is those three guys. Those guys were laid off. So that's a massive, not just laying off 50%, but laying off these very specific people is a massive, massive change. You're changing Mondo. You're turning Mondo into just a brand owned by Funko, not a company run by these same, core people. And so in my mind, if they are willing to go that far left field of their original intention now, who's to say they're not going to take another left turn 3 months from now when these cost-cutting measures don't do enough to satisfy their shareholders? One of whom is, what's his name from Disney? I can't think of his name right now, but like the CEO of Disney.
Oh, Iger?
Yeah,
Bob Iger?
Bob Iger.
That's what that's the only one that came to my head.
Yeah, I believe it's Bob Iger, who owns like 25% of Funko, by the way.
He's
And
having
that
a bad
purchase,
year
he
all the
purchased
way
that
around.
stock like this summer or fall, like right in the midst of all this. So, yeah, like it's like massive corporate shakeup for the bottom dollar of Funko of Mondo. Let's check the chat a little bit here so I can catch my breath. I don't understand how we entered the giveaway. I clicked the link, enter. Uh-oh.
There's no link.
There's no link. What link did you click? Hold on. I hope we didn't get spammed with a scammer.
I didn't see anything. Yeah.
Yeah, but it could. Let me see here. So basically, just in the chat, Roger Dodger, just type the word hashtag Forest Night and you're entered. So purged creativity at Mondo. Yeah, it was the founders and lead creatives were gutted. And so like you got to realize like those artists are not they're not going to stick around for whatever like plans that Funko has for the Mondo brand of posters. Like those guys aren't sticking around. And I know that this isn't directly related to the figures in that they've said that the figure division is untouched, but my God, 50% of the company is laid off. That concerned me. And I just don't trust Funko anymore at this point. So for me personally, I canceled. And I requested to cancel and they didn't respond. I had to do a chargeback through PayPal. I had to do like a dispute and then they responded. But I have heard other people say that they've been responsive to cancellations in the past. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see how. I mean, you have no telling what they're going to tell, what Funko is going to tell Mondo people to do, but like whether or not it's, cutting costs. You're spending too much time on, numerous test shots or numerous whatever, and they're like, just get your product out, that type of thing.
Yeah, how is the quality going to suffer, and if it does, how bad and where?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just checking through to see if there were any mysterious links.
Yeah. And, I mean, also I've seen plenty of times the Mondo is just selling things in stock too when it comes out. So it's not like you're really, if it comes out great, you might have a chance of finding another one anyway. So
yeah.
And I'm hoping that's the case because Trapjaw I miss. I'm hoping they do make some extras of those, or maybe some folks panic and cancel. That'd be good too.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the letter. So let me pull the. Let me see. So that was my reaction when they laid all those people off, and they just really went back on their promise to let Mondo be Mondo, and they would support Mondo, not turn. So what's happening is they're following through in a way that makes it just a brand that's owned. Like it's just a name brand now that's owned by Funko. But then, so, because of the backlash, right? Like people realized that, firing, even if you're planning to continue the poster business, firing the creative team, like the main team that's running the poster business, you're not going to, it's not going to be the same. You're not going to have the same product. And it's just not going to be the same. Let me share this tab. Yeah, so here's the letter. So let me go a little full screen for myself. Okay. This letter just really just enraged me to the point where I made like I posted a comment, and thankfully somebody called me out on how like absurd my comment was, but it was a bit hyperbolic. And I was like, after I read this thing, I was like, kiss your battle cats goodbye. And yeah, someone called me. I was like, okay, I deleted it, or I changed it to like, okay, I worry about the quality of battle cat at this point. So Funko has been upset. So first of all, this was tweeted by Mondo, and it's on Mondo letterhead, but it's written by Brian Mariotti, the owner or the CEO, I believe, or the CFO, one of the chief executives of Funko. So this is a letter from Funko on Mondo letterhead to the fans who are worried that Funko is gonna ruin Mondo. Funko has been obsessed with Mondo and the amazing products that they produce for years. We believe Mondo is a pop culture taste maker, and always has their finger on the pulse of everything that is cool. The tastemakers, that is like the worst word ever, but like the tastemakers were the guys you just fired, right? Like those people you just fired were the ones who were curating the art. They were hiring the artists. They were, right? Like all that stuff. All right, you know what? Let's do this real quick before I get too deep into this letter. We should probably spin the wheel.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
For the drawing. Okay, I'm gonna pull the banner down, and share this. We'll come back to the letter in a second. All right, we got 80 entries. We're gonna give it one more minute. Let's check the chat again. I just want to search for toys on sites and exclude Funko. I just want to search for toys at conventions and exclude Funko. Like, the conventions, they've been taking over conventions like crazy. Let's see what Billy Beige has to say. They may still have great artists for the posters, but it'll end up being a cheaper mass-produced product, a standard print poster, I'm betting, at the same or close to Mondo price. Yeah. Yep, it's not... If they're going to... So part of this letter is going to be their efforts to increase print run sizes. And I've been following a lot of these artists and a lot of these printmakers and screen print, crafts people. And they're talking about like, it's nearly impossible to at the same quality to increase production. Like, especially if you've already just gutted your main experts on this stuff. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and the people to produce them, yeah, it's like,
yeah, it's not gonna, yeah, and you're gonna be in some ways blacklisting yourself from, from any of these experts wanting to work with you. Yeah, walls of Funko. That's what these conventions have become. Okay. All right, let's spin this wheel. Everybody ready? Good luck, Forest Night. If your name comes up, please shoot an email to podcast@dorklair.com. You can also message me on social media if you're familiar with my social media. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, spin them. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
Reggie Holiday. Congratulations, Reggie Holiday, on winning the Zylernian Guard. Just shoot me an email. Again, just shoot me an email at podcast@dorklair.com. It's down in the description below. Or you can message me on social media, and I will probably get that out tomorrow. I'm usually pretty quick with getting these in the mail. All right, back to our letter here. And I got to pull this up so that I can see it better. Let's see. All right, so they fired their tastemakers, and yet they always believed in Mondo as a pop culture tastemaker. Okay, so since there is a lot of misinformation about recent change in leadership in the poster division of Mondo currently out there, I can tell you that our strategy is very clear. While we did reduce our overall workforce by 10% across Funko, the majority of the company-wide layoffs weren't in Mondo. That is true.
That's just playing with math.
exactly.
It's just spinning it in such a way that makes it sound like Mondo was barely impacted. Mondo lost 50% of their workers, according to multiple sources. The Mondo poster business will continue, period. You got that, people? Period. We feel that making extremely limited runs of posters, most of which are 150 pieces or under, not true. Most of them are like 300 plus. There have been some at 150 or under, but like not in a long time, in very like obscure stuff. Like the Marvel stuff, like most of the stuff is much larger runs than that. So we feel that making extremely limited runs of posters, most of which are 150 pieces or under, limits access to fans unfairly, says guy who makes incredibly limited variants of Funko Pops in order to drive up demand for full cases because they're the chase figures and you want to buy.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Many of these posters are bought with the sole purpose of flipping them at a much higher cost to fans that really want them. I would say the percentage is like the same as anything, right? Like you see Mezco run off 2,000 of a Gomez figure, and then you see 20 of them on eBay, and people freak out and say everyone bought them just to flip. The majority are just to flip. It's not the majority of people. It's not the majority. It sucks to see it happen, and it's frustrating as a buyer to miss a drop and then see it go up by scalpers. But this is not like this. It's not like the majority of them.
No, and it's the nature of the beast. It doesn't matter how much or how it's always going to happen. If you make more, people will just sit on them longer. It's still going to happen. You're not going to stop it.
And honestly, like oftentimes I would see a Mondo poster drop, and there'll be two versions. There'll be like a smaller limited variant that's like maybe silver or something.
Yeah.
And then like the regular. And the silver will sell out. The variant will sell out really quickly. And the other one will take longer. And people will get upset because they wanted the rare one. It's like, why can't I get the rare thing? It's because it's rare. Like that's the nature of the beast. Like part of this, small print run craft making thing when it becomes popular is like these things there's not enough of them.
So let me make sure I understand. Let me just to clarify before you go on. So a guy running a company that's currently dumping however many millions of these Mondo things into the ocean because they made too many is now firing people from a company that had a successful business model, pandemic notwithstanding, and he's going to take a limited run product and he's going to make more of them because that worked so well in his other business. Do I have that in line?
That sounds about right. Yeah. I don't know that.
Okay, so I want to say, it's just the math doesn't track. This guy should do statistics for drug studies. Look, after the last 3 years, anyone that uses the word misinformation in a press release, you've lost me. From there, I know everything that follows is bullshit. So please continue with the bullshit.
Yeah, and it's my guess is Mondo was probably not optimized in terms of profitability, and they probably can do better from what they were doing. You know what I mean? But still, like, you're completely transforming the company at this point. And I get it. The toys are going to still be there. The figures are going to still be there. It sounds like the team making the figures are still the same. So like the toy part of it for people who are like, who only really care about the figures and whether or not they're going to get their figure, I say, you're probably fairly safe when I really try to apply my logical brain to it. Like, I'd say there's a better chance of Mondo Battle Cat releasing and being fairly okay than it either not releasing or being a total pile of garbage. They still want to make a product and not have a bunch of people angry at them.
Well, I mostly agree with you, but then when you look at Disney and Marvel, they still want to make a product, and all they've done is make stuff that's consistently worse and worse. And it's the same people making it, but the different decisions are coming from people at the top.
Yeah.
I don't trust people at the top when they make a bad decision in one area. How you do, I don't know if you guys have seen John Wick 4 yet. How you do a thing is how you do everything.
Yep. Our goal is to make larger edition sizes, limited but not ultra limited, that allow more fans to participate in this world-class expression of pop culture art. We believe that broadening the pop culture scope to include TV properties, sports, anime, music will have an amazing appetite. Will have an amazing appetite for Mondo fans and pop culture fans alike. Funko will be investing heavily in the production of vinyl record. This is one where I think perhaps this is probably the biggest strength of this whole situation. I feel like they probably can be successful making records.
Yeah.
You know, it's not obviously like record making is not Funko Pop making, or you know, it's I guess it's still vinyl, right? But it's not like
technically.
It's you know, it's not like making posters where it's like this one at a time handcrafted piece of product, right?
Yeah, it's factory produced generally. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have
so yeah, I think that they could have success there, and they know it, right? Like, we will be investing heavily in the production of vinyl records in the near future, allowing Mondo to deliver records to more fans. We currently have plans to build an almost 70,000 square foot record pressing factory meets / record store of the future / live music event space in San Diego. There you go, Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Never mind, guys. I disagree with everything you're saying.
The space will have a 4,000 square foot dedicated Mondo art gallery as part of the vision. I gotta scroll here. So that, you know, I think if anybody could probably feel, all right, I think my product is going to be relatively the same. I feel like record buyers are probably the ones who are least impacted, as long as you're willing to, like, you know, support Funko and what they're doing. All right, so Funko is also going to great lengths to invest heavily in some of the most amazing licenses around to build out the portfolio of pop culture for Mondo's high-end collectible division. These are dream licenses that Mondo has wanted to work with for a long time, but was unable to due to financial restrictions before we acquired them. So I guess that would mean new toy licenses, right? Like the collectibles division would be the figures.
Yeah.
And their statues and things like that. So that would be like, maybe they can now get Star Wars or, you know, Marvel or, you know, because it's not the posters, right? Because the posters, they've already got Star Wars, they've already got Marvel, they've already got the biggest licenses out there. This is for the collectibles. So there's that side of it. We are 100% committed to providing all the support we possibly can for the folks at Mondo so they can continue to make amazing products that reach a larger and more diverse fan base through expanded licenses, better distribution, and a better overall experience for their fans. That's the part where I'm like, you said that in the summer too. Like, you said that last year when you bought the company, that the company was going to be unchanged, that it was going to be the same core company. So I don't buy any of it. There's a lot of like half spin type corporate I mean, the whole thing is like corporate spin garbage type language in this whole letter, right? From them spinning the 50% layoffs at Mondo to them talking about tastemakers and I don't know, like throwing shade at people who are critical of this situation and claiming that there's a bunch of misinformation. Like, it's this whole letter just pissed me right off, and reassured me in my decision to cancel my Battle Cat. That's not to say that I'm encouraging people to go cancel their Battle Cats or to go cancel their Trap Jaws or like any of that stuff.
It just didn't do anything to change your mind.
Yeah. And, you know, like, they clearly were already having some struggles. I know they're trying to fix those struggles, but like that He-Man, like a lot of people had a really bad experience with their last He-Man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine was completely unglued out of the box, and I still haven't received my replacement that they assured me would be coming when I emailed them back in January. So that's been 3 months still since I've gotten that. That doesn't help in my confidence level of Funko's Mondo. I'm calling it Funko's Mondo from now on. Because that's
I think
what it
that's
is.
fair. Yep, I think
Yeah.
that's fair and accurate.
Yep. So let's stop this conversation now, because I want to make sure that we have a chance, while Chris is still here, who's going to jump off in a few minutes, to talk about this Batman. And feel free to keep chatting about this stuff, because I feel like Hasbro, in the way they managed Magic the Gathering the last 12 months, that's got me like infuriated. And there's like a new game called Sorcery that's an independent game that I'm like, I'm putting money, I'm buying that. Like, that's where I'm putting my money that I would have spent on the Lord of the Rings Magic set, which I was hyped up for, but like not anymore. Like I'm backing off of these big investor-minded corporate products.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to a couple shows ago, a month or two ago, when you mentioned how McFarlane explained how he has so much more freedom to do whatever he wants, really, because he's the guy. He makes all the decisions. Doesn't have, when you look at Hasbro, like, they have the biggest licenses in the world. They have like Transformers and G.I. Joe, which they own entirely, and they're gigantic. And the prices just keep going up and up and up for like every all these lines, especially Transformers is it's like they're running like 4 different lines with all the different various sizes of the characters. So it's such a unique situation, but it's like, you're paying 0 licensing fees, charging tons, cutting back on paint and everything. And not to say anything about Star Wars and how much they're charging for deluxe figures just because they're a little bit bigger.
What they're charging for vintage collection figures.
Yep, they're having to raise prices because they have to keep making more and more profits, and it's not necessarily profit that, like in the case of McFarlane, gets reinvested back into the company and back into the product. It's got to go to the shareholders, Let's see. Curtis with the $20. I agree that this Funko dude is coming across very sketchy. That said, there are still great people working at Mondo, and I love that Mondo Master Designs. I may go down with the ship, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the people still working at Mondo, and probably a vast majority of the people working at Funko, are great people, right? I just
we can't toss them overboard because they got a bad captain.
I just don't trust Funko to keep those people employed or to treat those people right. And ultimately, like, I'm getting off that boat. Like, I am like, I'm not collecting the line. I don't even have a He-Man right now because I have a half broken He-Man. And like, I'm getting off. That's for me. But yeah, the intentions at Mondo right now are really good. Like, the people working at Mondo, they want to make an awesome product. I just don't trust Funko not to force them to cut corners as this thing is in production. And it's the biggest, most ambitious toy they've ever made. If they have to cut corners, it's going to look ugly when it comes out.
Definitely. I can give my quick, 30-second thoughts on the Mezco Batman if you want.
Yeah, let me remove this. Batman time. So I'm gonna move my light too. Thoughts, Chris?
I'm a fan. I'm there are things that I think are, you guys are probably talking a little more about, especially the cape and how that attaches, that I think could be done better, or maybe it's just like, figure to figure, depending, because I've heard of people like cutting out some of the the hole there, connecting that. But I think in general, I'm happy with this. Not, I don't know why it would have taken 3 years to make this figure, but that's a great that you got there, Bill. Great pose. But I'm happy with how it came out. I guess that's generally, at least as far as I can get. Once the one thing that took me a while for my figure was to move one of the legs. Like it would go out easily, and then I need to I need to probably watch some reviews, which I hardly ever do, and see if I don't know. Does anyone cut open this thing and see how the skeleton works? Because that's one thing I'm curious.
I haven't
to.
seen
I haven't found one yet, but I'm looking for that to happen eventually.
Someone will soon.
Yeah.
Someone's will break, and they'll send them a replacement, and they'll not return it, and they'll just cut it open to see.
Yeah.
Bill, what'd you use to gather that cape up in the back again?
Okay, so this is my biggest gripe is the cape itself. And the problem with the cape is that it has like something like 6 seams, but only like 3 wires, right? Or 5 seams and 3 wires or something like that.
I see.
So what I've had to do here is so like the cape, if I didn't have it set up like this, it would billow out to the sides. It would billow out to the sides like that. So I tucked it towards the back, and then there's a center seam or a center wire on the back, and I folded it under to gather those bits there.
Like twist it up.
So so it's just just pinned with that wire like that. So it's not ideal. But the biggest problem for me, and I was able to get it took some work. I was able to get, this on without having to cut away any of the fabric.
I was not. I had to cut away fabric to get mine on.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And I used tweezers, and it took some time. It sort of was the most effort I've put into this so far, considering I got it 3 hours ago. So my biggest problem is that the cape has, so let me just show the cape again. So the cape is like this, right? And you have a wire here, and then you don't have a wire here. There's no wire right here. Then you have a wire here, and then there's no wire here. And then, so every other seam on the cape has a wire, and the wires on this, so like, if you look at the front of the figure, the wires are on the front here, and then these side ones here, there's no wire. So these are always going to this part right here is going to always billow out, or you have to try to find a way to tuck it and fold it underneath. And it's just a big pain in the butt. It should have had wires on all of them. And looking at it, I might be able to buy some wire and thread it in. Feel like I can fit it in the seam. I feel like
I could totally see that.
I could probably put my own wires in there. And if I can successfully do that, I actually think I'll really like the figure. But right now, as it is, I don't really love, I can't really get it in a good pose without compromising what I think is the integrity of the cape. Because folding it underneath, I don't really want to have it folded all the time like that if I have it in that pose on the shelf.
Yeah. And the one I'm using is, and I'm just defaulted to this because it was the first one I used, and so this is the one without the wire, so you can see how it billows. Just what Bill was saying. If there's no wires, this is what it's going to do. And the weight of it, you can put it back over his shoulders, but from the side, you're still going to get this. I haven't put the other one on yet because it took me over 45 minutes to get this one on. And I did more swearing in that 45 minutes than I have cumulatively in the last 6 months. So need to take a break from that. But yeah, the cape is, if only we knew a custom cape maker.
Yeah. The problem is it's attached to this thing. Oh yeah, I was going to try in a minute. I'm going to try the Sovereign or the Supreme Knight cape on here and see how
because that cape is so much. It's so much better. It hangs. The weight of it pulls it down, and I don't think you need those seams. I think that the way that they did the cape on this is far superior to what they did on the back.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if it's going to work with this collar, with this ring around the neck where it pins the cape on.
Yeah,
we'll see in a minute.
Let me hop off, guys, before you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night, man.
Bye, guys.
My cape is not centered, so if you look at
none of them are.
This, like this right here, like you can see this side over here is more towards the middle.
Yeah.
And it's just,
And
it's
you
not
can see it
centered.
when I try to fold it back. The folds don't look the same because it's not coming out from under there the same way. It's
Yeah.
close, but I kind of think yours, the asymmetry looks good the way you have yours, the way you've got it pulled around to the back and tucked under because it's more over one shoulder than the other. And that really does a good job of hiding it. So I think that I'm going to try to get the wired one on there tomorrow or this weekend and pose it the way you have it. I like that a lot. I think that looks really good.
My other issue is this seam right here is
Mhm.
the threading is coming off. Can you see that?
Oh, wow. Yep.
It sucks. So I might try to see if they'll send me another cape. I'll show them the off-centeredness of it, and I'll show them that and see if they'll send me another cape.
So,
but
Bill, throw
it's
the
not
head
going to
back
have the
on
wires
yours real quick. No. Throw the head on yours because I had some folks asking me in other groups, how does it compare to the Figure Arts? So hold yours up. As you guys can see, the Mezco is clearly superior because the Figure Arts is just it's plastic, it's smooth everywhere. The torso looks okay, but the colors are not as vivid. The facial likeness is nothing close, and this has an awful cape too. So if you're debating between the two and you have an opportunity, the Mezco is superior in every way imaginable. Yeah,
especially in the head sculpt. The Mezco is it's
the
definitely
head sculpts are just ridiculous. I've tried to get some of that powdering off of the uniform, but that silicone body does not want to let go of it. I've tried with water and wiping it with the microfiber cloth, and a couple of the reviewers have used, I think they said 303 oil, but I'm afraid to put anything like that on the silicone. I don't know what that's going to do to the integrity of it over time. So I'm just going to let these guys be guinea pigs and see if they report any.
I dabbed mine with a wet cloth, and
that's what I did, and it took
all
some of it off.
I think it looks
but the guys who use the oil, this is kind of amazing. Smoke. The ones that they did with the oil, holy crap, it looks good.
It looks really good. I'm tempted. I am tempted.
The biggest thing I was worried about getting this was 90% of the pictures online, this thing looked like a bobblehead. It looked horrible, but in hand, it looks really good. The proportions are right. I think the other thing to think about is so many of our action figures have superhero proportions, right?
Yep.
This has real life proportions. Even professional bodybuilders are not proportioned like most of our action figures. So when you get, Michael Keaton was 5'9". He's about 170 pounds. He's not a big dude, and his head's the same size as mine. So he's not going to look like other Batman figures. So when you figure the cowl and everything else, but when you get everything on there, you get the cape on. If anyone has a concern because of the way that the pictures looked, made it look like it was a little big, it's not. In hand, it's great. And these head sculpts are incredible.
So here's the Supreme Knight cape on here.
Okay.
It does sit high though. So.
Oh, okay.
This does it, because of the way it's this piece here. It's making it sit a little bit too high on there. So unfortunately, I don't think using this cape is going to really. I guess it could be okay.
It was a good thought.
Yeah.
Now I still think the material.
Off, it's not going back on anytime soon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had it on and then accidentally knocked it off, and it took me like 20 minutes to get it back on there. So, but I still think that the material for any of those other Mezco Batmans, I still think the material is much, much, much better. Looks better, photographs better, moves better. So, if our custom
in terms
cape
of articulation,
friend is out there listening,
this thing.
Have you been able to move it everywhere?
Yeah, it moves really well. It's got
the only place that I'm squidgy is doing the leg straight out in front on mine. It's really locked up, so I'm gonna have to slowly move it through, kicking the leg forward, at the hip. Everything else is great. Knees, ankles, hips, to the splits, everything with the arms is moving great, but moving it forward like to a sitting position it's a little tight. So I'm kind of squinting when I do that. I've not gotten out yet.
Let me read. I forgot to read Boy Called Malice's comment. I always love your multiple angles and how they deliciously coalesce into excellent and compelling discussions. The research, insight, and spice. So good. By the way, smash that like. Yes. Thank you. I always forget to say
Yes,
that.
please.
Hit the like button, everybody. Subscribe if you're not
And
subscribed.
share.
Oh, who has a better cape? Dubon. Yeah, please. Dubon by a mile. I'm not loving the spongy bodysuit, but overall, I think it's the best. Yeah, I mean, it probably is the best 112th Batman we have, and it's not going to do this pose. Like you can do this pose, but when you have the cowl on, it's not going to do this pose. The cowl's just going to ride up.
Because those fins are going to be too close to the shoulders.
There's really like a lot of great torso articulation, right?
Yeah, the ab crunch
there's
and back are
Ab
great.
crunch. Yep. Tons of great movement.
And you can, that's great because in the movie he couldn't move his head in the cowl anyway. He arched at the back to look up the tower, so it moves just like he did, not very much.
He can kick up.
Yeah, that's I've not gotten it up there yet.
Yep.
And I really like the way the silicone moves over those joints. It moves well. It feels good.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna wear out. I can just tell that this isn't a figure you're gonna want to do a pose like a lot. You're not gonna want to play with this figure a lot and like do a ton of posing and photography. I do think my legs, one leg is longer than the other. Like I don't think that's like a positioning thing. Maybe it is. I don't know. One leg is longer than the other.
One other detail. Can you pull up a picture I just sent you on Messenger?
Yeah, hang on.
So I don't know. Some people know this, some don't. The boots in the Batman movie were just modified Nike Air Max. And I took a picture zoomed in on the feet here. And obviously they don't have the swoosh because that's a copyright. But when you look at those feet, brother, those are the Air Maxes with the Velcro across the foot and everything, just with the leather shin guard slapped over the top. Check that out. I mean, right down to the air thing in the butt. Yep, that was one. Yep. And they did that. That was on the figure arts as well. I didn't know if they would have it on here, and I zoomed in, took a picture, and zoomed in, and so they had this thing. It's right down to the last detail. So you're getting. I mean, even the piece of the shoe that's more gray than black. That's exactly what it was like in the costume that they used in the movie. So
you
got your Batman and your Nikes. So that's good.
It's just too bad that like, I don't know. I shouldn't want my figures to be perfect, but it really is too bad that it didn't come out, it could have been perfect. Like just the cape, a little more attention to detail on the cape with the extra wires and a little cleaner connection on that neck piece. I mean,
and that's what frustrates me. They had 3 years, over 3 years. We pre-ordered this thing January of 20, so over 3 years.
Are your legs the same length, Larry? One's definitely longer than the other.
Mine are definitely the same length. I think you may need to get a chiropractic adjustment, get your hips fixed. This one's good.
Seriously,
he stands perfectly square.
I can't get it into a position where they're like the same length. Sometimes.
Now it does rotate at the hips. So I don't know if it rotates uphill or downhill, if you know what I mean. So you may want to play with that a little bit, because when I first got mine out of the package, when I bent his knee was like the knee pad was facing forward, but it bent back at an angle. So the armature was turned crooked inside the skin, and I had to straighten that out. So you may try that.
Yeah. Nothing seems to be working for me, but
Rabbit's Den collectible set. I thought there was a drop down hip to even the legs. That may be. I don't know. I've not had to mess with it.
It's weird because like I can't drop anything down. I can't. It's not. Maybe it'll loosen up over time and they will drop down or something.
Well, that thing that Mezco sent out said that the armature would loosen over time. You just had to keep playing with it.
I mean, for accessories, to me, it's all about the 3 head sculpts. I don't know that the movable eyes head sculpt is for me necessarily.
Yeah, that one will never come out of the box. I took a picture of it and put it back away.
But because they don't have that black. They just look like super wide open eyes. Like so, I don't know. They don't look realistic like the other heads do.
Right.
But yeah, the 3 head sculpts are awesome. That's the highlight of the figure for me. Are these head sculpts?
That just yeah, it's really they did an amazing job. That's the best face because Michael Keaton has a very distinctive face. You have to get it right to get it right, and buddy, they got it exactly right.
Yep. Let me check in on the chat here. I'm behind. Bat Gimp. Yeah. I totally understand where there's a lot of people who are very let down by this figure. To me, it's not a bad figure, but it has so much baggage that it really needed to be perfect for it to be sort of like, okay, this is a good figure. Like I'm not willing to say that because of the little nitpicky issues I have on a figure that took so long.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's The Force Awakens. It's serviceable, but it's not great.
Do you think we'll ever get 89 Joker?
I don't know because I don't know what the Nicholson likeness rights are. I don't know. I was watching a documentary on the making of that movie, and Nicholson made like 10 times the money anyone made on that movie because he made a lot going in, he made a lot on the back end. He had complete autonomy of everything with his rights, but they made a 6 scale. Hot Toys made a 6 scale Nicholson a couple years back. So I don't think the door's closed. I just don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Jacob asked, I'm trying to understand what he's asking. Do you have Marvel or DC? Do you collect or no? I don't know if he means mainline. I get a handful of Marvel Legends if I really like them. I pick up the figure art stuff. There's a couple of new in-game Final Battle Thanos and I Am Iron Man Tony Stark. There's a new edition of those coming out called the 5-year edition. It's updated paint apps with some additional accessories that weren't in the previous. So I collect that. And on the DC end, I collect a lot of the McFarlane stuff. If it's Batman, I'm probably going to pick it up. So I hope that's the question you're asking.
For me, yeah, I don't do the McFarlane stuff. I do the Mezco DC. I have a lot of the Batman figures. For Marvel, also pretty much Mezco. I don't do Marvel Legends really. I've done them in the past, but I found it to be too addicting and like I can't control myself, so I've just really like kept it to like none. But I do have I did start collecting the 3-0 DLX Marvel, basically the Iron Man armors.
Can't get into that.
They're phenomenal. They're expensive.
They're awesome.
There's not a lot of them, so that's kind of like my way of getting Hot Toys Iron Man figures, which I've always wanted, but like, a smaller, cheaper scale version of it.
Yeah. And that's why I got into the figure arts, because I couldn't afford to get into the Hot Toy stuff. So now I have a bazillion figure arts Iron Mans, but they're all awesome. So yeah, I do pick and choose. And the Marvel Legends, it's so easy to get addicted to that. So I've got a couple of Wolverines. If I see something really cool like Doctor Doom and the Captain America that came out last year, I like those, and the Bishop. But yeah, I can't. It's too much.
Yeah, Beast Kingdom. Did they do a Joker? I know they had that Batman. I'm not sure if they did a Joker.
I don't know. I almost ordered that Beast Kingdom Batman, but I just saw too many bad reviews on it, and I saw some in-hand pictures that just looked not very good, so I canceled that pre-order.
All right. So overall, like, this figure has potential, or had potential. I think it's not a bad figure, but for me, unless I can get a wire into this cape, if I can get a wire into this cape in the proper way, I think I'll like it a lot more. I think the problem for me is I just can't pose the cape in a decent way without it being a Jimmy rigged pinback type situation. Agreed. I want it to be able to sort of sit on its own with the wires. I may get a replacement because I do have that fraying of the stitching is just completely like.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. That's pretty bad.
So I may see if they'll send me a replacement cape. I hope they will. And then if
They're
that
usually good
happens,
about that. I had a figure come and it was missing a laser effect or something. I sent them an email and they sent me a little box with 3 of those effects in it. So they're good
yeah,
about replacements.
I think then I'll be more confident to practice on this old cape to practice putting a wire in it, and maybe I'll see if like
Ah,
Harker can tell me where I can buy a wire. I have no clue where to buy a wire for this. Like what
Harker,
kind of
just
wire.
make us a cape.
I know.
There,
But the thing
problem
is, like,
solved.
yeah, he'll be able to do it in a good
I'll
way.
send him one and he can use the ring that comes with it.
Yeah. He
Because
might
I
not
know
even
he'll
need the
make
ring.
he'll
Like
make something better than anything.
if he just has a circle, a circular
Yeah,
hole, the proper size, it should be fine.
I think you're right.
We'll see. Maybe because that he made me a cape for my other Batman, but he said it was this big project to assemble it, and he assembled it for me. So that's right here. Actually, it's probably dusty, but that's this cape right
Which
here.
Batman
for
is
my
that? Oh, this
That's
figure
the
arts.
figure arts.
Oh, I'm jealous. He doesn't have that
But
was a custom job.
he did it to experiment,
Ah,
and it just wasn't worth making. It was too much work, and
man, that looks
the
so much
installation
better
was
than
tough.
mine.
Yeah, that's the
That's
figure
nice.
arts.
That really makes that figure arts look a whole lot better than mine does.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Um. Yep. Alrighty. What did I have for other toy news here? Is it worth talking about? We did the Hasbro packaging. I had that up
Yep.
there.
We
Hot
did the
Toys
figure art
is
stuff.
yeah. The only other one I wanted to maybe mention real quick before we go is the Hot Toys. Where are they? Right here. So you got Return of the Jedi Vader and Return of the Jedi 3PO, and these are like full on 40th anniversary deluxe figures.
That Vader is awesome.
Now, how do I flip through these pictures? Here we go. Oh, they're not going to look good on here. I'm sorry, everybody, but that's right. These don't look good on on the screen share. I don't know if they've solicited this R2 or did they do that R2 already a long time ago?
I
Oh no,
don't know. I don't recall it.
maybe
Maybe they
this is
did.
the Attack of the Clones R2 that they put up. But yeah, that's so hilarious. You know, it comes with Salacious Crumb. Awesome. So that's the 3PO,
That's
and that one
great.
is $324. And then you've got the Darth Vader, and this one has like the lightning. Like, look at that.
Yeah, it's got the light up skull. I love that.
Yeah, that's sweet. I'm not getting this though because I already ordered the Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader with the Anakin broken face
Yeah. When does
mask.
this drop?
Oh, geez. I mean, it's up for pre-order now, but it's not going to be out till
December of next
July
year.
24. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So a
wow.
year. Yeah. That's
Okay.
2024. So
I
typical
may
year and
pre-order
a half,
that.
2 years.
I may
Um,
pre-order that.
as someone dipping my toes into Mezco 112, what's the best way to stay informed on new stuff coming out?
Mezco
Honestly,
one. There's a
just
Facebook page.
yeah, you could join the Facebook page. There's a couple of good Facebook pages, and honestly, like they do a pretty good job of usually the day before release, Mezco themselves tweets or shares on Instagram. So if you just follow
Yeah.
them and turn on notifications, that's probably the best way to do it. Follow them on Instagram and turn on notifications. You know, and I usually share stuff, but I've been doing it less and less. So yeah, Fabster, there you go. This is a good recommendation. Fabster on YouTube, he's like the number one guy in terms of like knowing what's up with Mezco, at least on YouTube. Yep, for sure. Yeah, so that Vader, very cool. $345. And
Looks
yeah, it's
awesome.
coming out end of 2024. So you got about a year and a half on that. But yeah, I did order the Anakin, the Hayden Christensen one, which I'm happy to get, and that'll be my Vader. That'll be my one Vader.
Steph got me the Empire Strikes Back anniversary one for Christmas,
Yeah.
but that would look really good on the shelf next to it.
Yeah. All right. I think
All
that'll pretty
right.
much do it. Let me pull this down and check the comments one more time. You can buy wire at many Targets. Often have some in the floral section. Okay, floral section.
It's a good suggestion.
Good one. Craft stores, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I got to get some wire. I got to figure out what the right gauge is for it, I guess.
Yeah.
It needs to be small enough to fit in there and strong enough to hold a pose. Okay, yeah, they did Beast Kingdom. Is that what it is? They did.
Yeah, they did it.
Joker.
Oh.
All right, everybody. Thanks for
Excuse
joining
me.
us today. Thank you again to all the super chat contributors. Those always go to the giveaways, and congratulations again to the giveaway winner. Make sure you message me either on social media or email me at podcast@dorklair.com. Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. And we're going to have the Toy Tubers podcast. I think I'm going to have the Bat Bomb on next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. That would be like the 12th or something like that. And then I've still got my Cosmic Legions. I got the last one coming up this Saturday, the Cosmic Legions test shot. Of course, we're going to have the Tactics game Mythic Legions figures coming. I'll start doing reviews on those. I still have a few more. I have to do like the reissues in the All-Stars 5 wave. So I've done a review of Romulus. I just still need to do a review of Ilgar and what was the other reissue? Azar, I believe. So those will all be coming down the pike on the channel. Thanks again for all the support, everybody. One last check in the chat. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Till next time.
Have a good night, guys.